we can.
I know darn well we can work it out. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Oh, why can't we if we want to? Yes, we can.
I know we can make it work. I know we can make it if we try.
Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can.
Great gosh, almighty.
Yes, we can. I know we can.
We can make it, y'all.
Yes, we can. I know we can.
Oh, yeah, we can make it,
Oh,
y'all.
why can't we if we
Oh,
want to?
you only try.
Oh, yes, we can. I know we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, we can make it, y'all.
Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show is a very, very important show. Another one of those tough shows, as I call them. Today's guest is Emily Evans. She was born and raised in Southern California. She has a bachelor's degree in media and communications. She was a recruiter for Red Bull North America. She ended up becoming passionate about nonprofits when she had the opportunity to work with EIF, which is Entertainment Industry Foundation, on their yearly event, Stand Up to Cancer. She also volunteered for several nonprofits. Emily started at Operation Underground Railroad in 2014 as a volunteer. She is currently the Chief Communications Officer for O.U.R. She is the sister of Tim Ballard, who's the founder of the organization. She works at the Orange County O.U.R. office. She has found her true passion in ending child sex slavery around the world. There are more than 365,000 missing children in the United States of America each year. Listen to that. 365,000 missing children in the United States each year. More than. That's a stunning number. Approximately 109,000 of them are sexually trafficked. 60% of those who are trafficked are foster youth. The average age of these children are 12 to 14 years old. This is a sick, sadistic statistic that we need to deal with and confront in this nation. Emily Evans will be joining me in a moment. And again, she is the sister of the founder of the organization, Tim Ballard. Let me take this opportunity to thank Attorney Matthew Umhofer, Attorney Frank Gooch, Attorney Matthew Close, and John Eisen for making this show possible. Those of you watching, if you would like to donate and become a donor to this organization to help us feed the hungry, house the homeless, and produce the podcast, you can go to yeswecanworshipcenter.org. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Emily, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Pastor Manning. Great. How are you doing?
Fabulous. Tell me who you are.
Yeah, so I work for a nonprofit called Operation Underground Railroad. I've worked here for about 7 years now, and I currently run all the marketing and communications and PR for the organization. Born and raised in Los Angeles, and I currently work out of our office just down here in Orange County.
Okay, great. And you became passionate about nonprofits beginning when?
It was shortly after college. I had a couple internships in college working with different nonprofits in LA. Just got to experience what, I didn't really know the nonprofit world at all. And, I got to experience what it felt like to have a job where you're actually making a big difference in other people's lives. And I was hooked. I was hooked right away. Got to work for a big event called Stand Up to Cancer, and was able to just see the process of that from A to Z, and how much goes into it, but then how much reward you get in return. And so that's kind of where I started, and then segued. I didn't think I would do nonprofits long term, but the Lord had a different plan for me, so here I am.
Now tell us, what does a Chief Communications Officer do on a daily basis? What's your day like?
Oh my gosh, it is never the same. I'll tell you that. Never the same here. I essentially oversee the nonprofit's messaging to the world. And so, how we communicate, whether that be through social media, emails, our website, different interviews that our staff is doing, email communication, text communication, Yeah, just the overall messaging, making sure that there is one clear, cohesive messaging going out, and then also making sure internally that we're going through, we have several operations and aftercare efforts happening every day, and so making sure that information is flowing from the field through our office and then out to the public in a very cohesive way.
Great. Now, we interviewed twice, in fact, a young man who has worked with your organization. We don't use his real name. I call him Tummy. I'm sure you know of who I'm speaking. So he's told my audience a lot about O.U.R. But assuming that someone is tuning in today who knows nothing about Operation Underground Railroad, tell us what the organization is all about.
Yes, absolutely. So Operation Underground Railroad started about 8 years ago. Our founder, Tim Ballard, was working for Homeland Security for about 12 years, working child crime cases, a lot of international cases, and over time just felt like he could be more effective working privately. I think there's certain red tape and different hoops you have to jump through while working with the government, which is great and needed. And so he thought, hey, what if I went off privately and could do things in a more nimble way while still working with governments and fight this problem of human trafficking, just from a different angle. And so he went off, he left his government job, started this nonprofit organization, and didn't really know what would happen. I think he describes it as taking obviously a huge risk, leaving his government job.
Right.
And starting a nonprofit is very risky. And after the first year and seeing how a private organization could work, with a government agency and how effective it could be, it just springboarded. And since then, we've been able to operate in over 30 different countries. We've been able to assist law enforcement in 48 states here in the United States, and the organization's just growing every day. So it's
in over 30 countries. Now, name some of those countries. I know Haiti is one of them.
Yes, we've worked in Haiti. That was one of, that's one that's very near and dear to all of our hearts. It's kind of the emphasis, the start of O.U.R. was in Haiti.
Wow.
It was going after a little boy down there, and that kind of kickstarted O.U.R. And since then, we've continued to operate in Haiti. Lots of cases in Mexico, Southeast Asia, down in Peru, Dominican Republic, lots in South America, and Ghana, Africa. We've just been expanding. I think our biggest office right now is in Thailand. We have about 30 employees out there, and we'd love to replicate what we have in Thailand around the world. Just have an office, have employees out there, and just be the most effective as we can.
Now, tell me about Thailand. Why are there so many employees there? Is this human trafficking problem more severe there than in other places? Unpack that for me.
Yeah. So Thailand is definitely in the top. It's a destination for Westerners and other to come over. And anytime there's a big destination location like that, human trafficking and exploitation is most likely happening. And so Thailand has always been reported as one of the largest locations of it happening. And so yes, I think we didn't set out to do that in Thailand. It was really organic how it happened, and I think because of the demand there, our team just started to grow really fast there. And so that's operations team, that's an aftercare team as well that we have out there who help with the survivors after they're rescued. So
now tell me a little bit about aftercare. Because I think that's so important. It's one thing which is to be commended to rescue a child who has been sexually exploited by people who I hate to say it, but I think are monsters. But this is just the beginning. When you rescue a child who has been psychologically damaged and traumatized by this kind of exploitation, they are going to need long-term help. How does your organization assist in that endeavor?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's okay to call them monsters. I think that's a nice word to use. The aftercare is more important, honestly. It's the long term. It's, the rescue is great, and pulling them out is wonderful, but if they don't get the right aftercare, then it's not really worth it. And so
give me some examples of what to piggyback off of what you're saying. I often say in ministry that when a person has if I break my arm, they'll put a cast on my arm and I might wear it for 6 weeks. People will come and sign it, and every time someone sees me with the cast, they will accommodate for my noticeable physical injury for the next 6 or 7 weeks as long as that cast is on. But when you have psychological and emotional trauma, sometimes it's 2 or 3 years later and you're still broken, but no one can really see that. So we don't minister to that person and we don't care for that person. So that's why I commend you for focusing on aftercare. But give me a couple of examples of what aftercare is like for a child who has been damaged in this way.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good analogy, because I think without the cast, without the physical, right, it is hard for people to grasp and to understand.
Yes.
The care needed. And I love our aftercare team. What they say is once you come in, you're with us for life, your family, and we will always meet survivors where they're at. So whether that be that they need to learn skills and they need help with their first job or starting a business, they have dreams of becoming a chef or starting, a salon and don't even know where to start. So our team will jump in and be able to assist them with that. Whether it be therapy sessions or, there's so many stories where it's really eye-opening, honestly, what, especially with children, their needs and desires. And, we had a case recently where these children were given stickers, and our team came in, they threw a little party for them. They just wanted them to feel good, and they pulled out stickers, and the kids were, first, some of them didn't even understand what a sticker was. And it was like, what is this? Like the concept, and then understanding that you take it off the paper and put it on whatever you're working on. Right. It just brings joy, and so it's just finding those moments with them where you can bring that joy, but then sticking with them through the hard as well, and making sure that they know that they have a family here at Operation Underground Railroad with our aftercare partners to lean on, not just for those 6 weeks while the cast is showing. It's right. Really life. Right,
and you do connect them to therapists and things of that nature also?
Absolutely, yes. So our model with aftercare is before the rescue even happens. So while our team is planning an extraction with law enforcement, our aftercare team will be on the side in the country vetting different aftercare homes, in-country aftercare homes. You can't just. It would be great if you could take them out of that country and bring them to the United States. Right. Not possible. So it's really a process of vetting those aftercare homes, finding the best one that that our team feels is going to be right if we're able to get these children out, and then seeing what kind of services do they offer. Like, can you do X, Y, and Z? And if you can't, let us help you. Let us bring in someone else who's specialized in a certain area that a need that a survivor will need. So yeah, that's kind of the model. OUR has always felt like that's the best to partner with in-country aftercare homes that are established, and then help them as needed so these survivors get the best care possible.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this. You're watching one of the toughest shows that I've ever done. My guest today, as you know, is Emily Evans, a person who is passionate about doing this work, trying to rescue children who've been sexually exploited and trafficked around the world. Let me take this moment to shout out to Tony Robbins. I found out that he has been involved in this organization, Operation Underground Railroad. He has contributed thousands of dollars. He has even gone on secret missions with them to help rescue children. I think this is just a wonderful, wonderful organization. I want to take this pause to thank Attorney Matthew Umhofer, Attorney Matthew Close, Attorney Frank Gooch, and others for making this show possible. I want to thank God for the Dwight D. Opperman Foundation for their help in sponsoring this program. Those of you who are watching, you can donate today to keep podcasts like these coming into your home over Facebook, Apple Music, iHeart, Spotify, and on YouTube. How can you do so? Simple. Don't sit back and just watch the show. Get involved. Send a donation today to help us do the work. Your donation can be $5, $50, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. Don't think that your donation is too small. Don't think that your donation is too large. It is your help that keeps this podcast coming. So I'm going to ask you today to please, wherever you are, sit down, write a check to Yes We Can Worship Center. Send it to us at 5857 South Central Avenue, Suite 180, Los Angeles, California, 90001. If you'd like to send it instantly, go to yeswecanworshipcenter.org. Click Donate Now and send your donation today. Whether it is $5, $50,000, $10, it doesn't matter. Your help will make a difference. Again, thank God for the Dwight D. Opperman Foundation, Attorney Matthew Umhofer, Attorney Matthew Close, Attorney Frank Gooch. We hope that they will continue to support us in our effort. Now, let's get back to this. Thank you. You're joining me with Emily Evans, my distinguished guest today, who is doing very, very important work with a wonderful organization called O.U.R., Operation Underground Railroad, and their website is actually on the screen. This is a nonprofit, and I want to encourage every pastor. I want to encourage the team of super lawyers who watch every one of our episodes to go to their website and make a donation to this organization today. And I am strongly passionate about this because this is a sick and sadistic thing going on not only in the United States of America, but around the world. And this is a tough subject. It is taboo. Most pastors don't want to talk about it. Most churches, most organizations, most leaders, we don't want to talk about this. But it is a fact of life. People are molested in churches. People are molested by pastors, by politicians, by high school coaches, by teachers, by gynecologists. This is a sadistic thing that is going on in our world, and something must be done about it, and it must be done now. I read your statistic earlier where there are more than 365,000 children turn up missing in the United States of America every year. And about 30% of them, or 60% rather, 109,000, whatever that number is, are sexually exploited. And then 60% of them are foster children. So this is a problem that we need to address in this country. And I've said on all of my shows to parents, don't trust anyone with your children. I don't care if he is a pastor. I don't care if he is a lawyer. I don't care if he's a physician. Because people who sexually exploit children, the profile is simple. They look like you, and they look like me. Now I'm off my soapbox for a moment. Back to my guest, Emily. Tell me your connection to Tim Ballard. Someone told me that you're related.
Yes, yeah, we are. We are related. So we actually, Tim is my older brother, and when he started this organization, I had a different job. He was living in Utah. I was living here in California. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was cool. I mean, as this younger sister, I just thought, hey, that's awesome. a little crazy. You're leaving your government job. Good luck.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What did you think when you found out he was leaving this? I mean, because a government job is stability, and this is guaranteed retirement and all that. So, what was your initial reaction when you found out he was leaving this government job?
Yeah, I think majority of our family was a little concerned. I think wondering, what he's doing, and I mean, I personally, I've always I didn't worry to the point where, I never went to him worried, because I always knew that he's a smart guy, and he definitely has a vision, a larger vision than most people that I've ever met. And he's never thinking, the next hour or two. He's thinking the next, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And
what do you think he gets that kind of vision from? Where did he get that?
I don't know. I think he was born with an innate ability to, he relies a lot on prayer and serving others. All growing up, all I heard were stories of him serving others, protecting others, leaning on his relationship with the Lord to guide his decisions, and so for me watching it was like, hey, this is a little crazy, but I also I'm excited to stand on the sidelines and watch you do this. So it wasn't until about 6 months after he started the organization did he asked me to jump in and help him with some smaller things because I lived here.
Such as, give me an example. What did he ask you to help? What did Big Brother ask you to help him with? Okay, give me an example.
The very first request was, hey, I don't have a calendar. He said, I'm running from meeting to meeting, and he's not great with technology, with just basic technology.
If I may, Tim and I have a lot in common. Number one, I don't have a calendar, and I'm not that good with technology either. Okay, go ahead. And you were showing me your cell phone. You were showing me your cell phone.
There's bigger things to worry about. So he was just like, hey, I would love if I could get a calendar on my phone. Does that exist? Really, he asked me that. That was 7 years ago.
Okay.
I said, yeah, that does exist, and that would make your life a lot easier.
Yes.
You're not going to miss meetings, and you can actually organize your life a little bit.
Right.
And he said, could you just set that up for me and help me with that? I said, sure. So that was a volunteer capacity. I just, it was him and one other guy running this at the time, and I just said, send all your meetings to me. If you want me to help put them on a calendar, I'll do that.
And you were still working a full-time job at this time?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
Yes, I was. The next request was, hey, you're in LA, I'm in Utah, but I want to create more momentum outside of the state of Utah. Could you put on a gala in Los Angeles? I said, yeah, I would love to. That'd be awesome. So that's when it got a little crazy having the full-time job. I vividly remember I would sneak into offices at my job, little phone rooms, and take his calls and other calls trying to set up this gala.
Right.
And after that event, it was awesome. It was a huge success.
And back up. Take me to the gala. Who did you invite? Give me some examples.
Well, it was really it was O.U.R.'s first kind of appearance in Los Angeles as a public event. And
take me to that event. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was feels like forever ago now.
Okay.
It was right in Los Angeles, right in Century City at a hotel. We filled the room with about 500 individuals.
Wow.
And it was people who just wanted to learn more. People who were willing to. I love what you were saying right before this. Is this problem is so common, but not everyone wants to jump into it. And I get it.
Yes.
I totally get it.
Yes.
You don't understand what human trafficking is. It's, and it's something, your life is a lot,
right.
Probably simpler, not thinking about it, or not knowing how big of a problem it is. And so, it was 500 people in the room that wanted to learn more and to see what, OUR was doing to.
And if I may, Emily, how did you find these 500 people? That's a lot of people. How did you find them?
It is. I know. My gosh, it was really grassroots. It was a lot of reaching out to. We had some local media that covered it. We put a press release together and sent it out. We had a few celebrity names involved that said they would show up. It was, yeah. So I mean, we had OUR. We posted on our social media, got some interest there. Growing up in LA, both Tim and I think we had some contacts and different organizations that knew that he had started this, and so we tapped every resource and filled the room. Wow,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so from there, you became more involved, and then eventually you made the decision to join the team full time.
That was it. Yes, that was it. After that event, he asked me to come over and help run the donor relations department. I mean, help run it. There was at that time, I think there was 3 full-time employees, and no one was reaching out to people who donated.
Right.
And so I remember buying every book on Amazon. Like I didn't know a ton about nonprofits. I had those internships, but I bought every book on Amazon about nonprofits and donor relations, and just took a highlighter for weeks and just tried to understand how that works.
Wow.
And that's where I started in donor relations. And then I have a marketing background. So when there was enough, resources to actually have a marketing team or a marketing emphasis, then I moved over there, and I've been running the marketing ever since.
Wow. So when it comes to donor relations and the nonprofits, you're pretty much self-taught.
I know.
Wow, that's
amazing. It was a lot of self-taught. I mean, since then I've been able to connect with other nonprofits and pick their brains directly rather than reading a book. But yeah, it was invigorating too, because I think it was a time when OUR was just getting started, and when you hear and see and understand the impact that is being made. It made it really easy to just jump into something that I had no idea about and just learn as much as I could and help. And so, yeah, self-taught donor relations. I don't know if I was any good because I moved out. They moved me out into marketing. So
okay.
I think I helped when I could.
Probably a stepping stone. So tell me this moved you up. Tell me a little bit about the guru, Tony Robbins. When the person we're calling Tommy mentioned him to me on the show a couple of weeks ago, I mean, I just got goosebumps, because you're looking at a man who his entire life, Tony has spoken to my life. I've listened to every cassette tape back when we used to have those, and then the videos, the CDs, and all of them. Tony has meant a lot to helping shape me, and he's also a friend of one of my preachers, as I call him, Bishop T.D. Jakes. And so he told me that Tony was involved with O.U.R. How did that happen?
Yeah, so Tony and his wife Sage are truly unbelievable people. I think Tony, if you follow him, you clearly know his line that the secret to living is giving. And
absolutely.
And he was doing one of his business masteries about 5 years ago. I believe it was in Las Vegas. And he just asked his audience, he said, what's on your bucket list? What are you trying to do in this world outside of growing your businesses, outside of being successful? But what are you trying to achieve? What's on your bucket list? And she was a volunteer for OUR. She was in attendance, and she raised her hand and she said, I support this organization called OUR, and I would love to raise money to help rescue children from sex trafficking and sexual exploitation. And Tony thought it was so awesome that that's what she wanted. And he said, well, let me match that. And he said, anyone in this room that wants to give to this cause, I'm going to match tonight.
Wow.
And there's a video of this. I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, you've got to send that to me, please.
It's so inspiring because people just start raising their hands left and right. Like,
wow.
And they start standing up, and Tony's cheering them on, and he's crying, and everyone's crying. And,
Wow.
And I got a call that night from someone who was in attendance, and they just said, you wouldn't believe what happened. Said Tony Robbins was doing this conference. I said, the Tony Robbins was doing
The one and only.
What happened here?
Okay.
Yeah, and then since then, him and Tim have become really good friends. Tony's actually gone undercover with Operation Underground Railroad.
Yes.
He wanted to see it firsthand, and that's why I applaud people like Tony so much, who want to actually get into this and see the darkness.
Yes.
And the point in Tony being, and the point of him going out with our team was so that he could come back and talk about it.
Right.
He could be a voice for this cause and this mission. He has so many amazing causes that he supports, and we're just grateful that he's chosen human trafficking as one of them. So
yes. Well, whatever you do, Emily, the pastor only asks you one favor. I don't want Tony Robbins' phone number. I don't want his email. I know how busy he is. I'm not looking for any kind of personal connection, but I do want you to make sure you send him this podcast so that he can see what a great job you did, and so that he can see another life that he has impacted. And if Tony is watching, thank you for all that you do. God bless you. Godspeed to you. One more question, Emily. We're running out of time, and that is, I want you to tell me about a great man that you and I both know who actually brought us together. One of the greatest men I know, attorney Frank Gooch. Tell me how you met Frank.
Oh my gosh, Frank was like my second dad growing up. I grew up right next door to Frank.
Wow.
One of the hardest working guys. I just remember every morning, seeing Frank. He had these radio headphones on at like 6 a.m., walking around the neighborhood working. He has two boys that were two of my best friends, still really good friends growing up.
Right.
And we just grew up together. And Frank has been an unbelievable mentor in my life. Just treats everyone with such gratitude and grace, and he always makes you feel like you're the most important person in the room when you're talking to him, and it's always been something that I really admire about Frank, and I'm so glad that he connected us. So.
Yes, he did. And now, what was Frank listening to on those headphones at 4 Did you ever ask him? Okay.
I never asked Frank. I need to ask him what he was listening to.
Well, Frank, I know you're watching the show, and the question of the hour, Yes We Can podcast with Pastor Sherman, D.Manning, wants to know, what were you listening to on those headphones? And I want to take a brief moment to give special thanks to the Dwight D. Opperman Foundation, to attorney Matthew Close, attorney Frank Gooch, and others for making this podcast possible. And those of you who are watching, if you would like to keep these podcasts coming into your home, if you'd like to help us feed the hungry, house the homeless, please go to yeswecannworshipcenter.org. And my special guest today is Emily Evans, and she's a very important person with Operation Underground Railroad, and I want their website on the screen, and I want to encourage every person watching to go and learn about this magnificent organization and the very important work that they're doing. And I'm not an alarmist, and I'm not paranoid, but I want to sound an alarm in Zion, as we would say in the pulpit, to every parent, that there are many, many people in this world who mean children no good. And these are not dark objects, old men walking in trench coats in the middle of the night. These are everyday looking normal people. Some of them wear suits and ties. Some of them wear jogging suits. Some of them wear a lot of jewelry. Some of them wear no jewelry. They are people who look like you and me. And the children are our tomorrow, and we must protect them. Jesus says, suffer the little children and let them come unto me. And so it is a sad, sick, evil human being who decides to sexually exploit a child, and it must be dealt with and it must be dealt with now. Parents, watch your children. When I was growing up, they taught us not to talk to strangers. When I was growing up, they taught us not to accept money from adults without our parents' permission. And in my studying and researching for this show, one of the things I learned, and I want to amplify that, and that is parents, tell your children not only if someone touches them inappropriately to tell you about it, but no adult has any business asking a child to keep a secret of any kind. The moment an adult ask your child to keep some kind of secret, that is a setup for grooming, that is a setup for exploiting them. You must watch your children. You must take care of your children. We must work together. And if there may be some sadistic person watching right now who's into children and attracted to children, go check yourself into a psychological hospital right now and get some help for your disease. And I'm not kidding. That is a disease. There's something wrong. You need to get help, and you need to get help now. Emily, anything you'd like to say before we go? Last words.
No, just thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for your words. You're spot on. I think, people think this isn't happening here in the United States, or this is a third world problem.
Right.
This could never happen to me in my community, but it does. It's alarming. And like you said, it's individuals that look like you and me. It's not this far off thing. So I love what you said about protecting your children. O.U.R. has an online training, actually. There's signs of trafficking training, and it's on our website that you can take and look at and really learn the signs. Be able to look for what's happening in on your children's computers, who they're talking to, who they're communicating with, who's taking them, who's when you go, they get sent to. They go to a play date. Who's at that house?
Right.
Is the uncle there? Is there a cousin there that you don't really know?
Right.
Just be alert. Don't be casual about this. So
Absolutely.
that's what I have to say.
And I hope that everyone goes to the website and looks for these signs. That's very, very important. And to piggyback off of one thing she said, when I was growing up, my mother would not let Dolly Mae Manning, rest in peace. I love her and I miss her. And we say, can I spend the night at so-and-so's house? No. They can spend the night here, but you can't go there because I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know who that woman's boyfriend is or girlfriend is. So parents, it's that type of time. You have to watch your children. I repeat again, and I'm not trying to make pastors look bad because I know some great pastors, and I know some of us say what we mean and mean what we say, but don't trust your kids with any pastor. Don't trust your kids with anyone. A pastor is there to preach the gospel, and when he finishes preaching, his duty is done. If your children need counseling, you go with them. If your children need prayer, you go with them. Set yourself up for success and not for failure. So thank you for joining me, Emily. Remember my small request, and that is make sure Tony and your brother Tim see this podcast. I really appreciate and applaud the work that you're doing, and I hope that we'll get Tim on one day. Frank Gooch, again, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that we can make a difference in this country. We can protect our children. We can do it together. Yes, we can.
I know that we can.
I know darn well we can work it out. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Oh, why can't we if we want to? Yes, we can.
I know we can make it work. I know we can make it if we try.
Oh, yes, we can. I know we can.
Great gosh, your body.